Live from Portland, Oregon, it's the 1984 Portland Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade. Brought to you in part by PSA, the airline with a smile, now flying Portlanders to cities throughout the West. By the State of Oregon Tourism Division. Come share the things we have uncommon. And by Grape Nut Cereal, with a crunchy good taste, compliments of nature. Now, here are your hosts for the Portland Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade, KATU's Richard Ross and Tracy Berry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Portland. We have a great day here, a big, colorful, exciting parade about to pass by. And Tracy, I think we're going to have our hands full just keeping up with it.
Oh, we are so glad you can join us in our own backyard and across the country, because for you today we have 30 all-floral floats, more than 24 bands, equestrian units, even a few celebrities to throw in here and there, and we have a wonderful crowd lining the streets.
And those bands and floats and riders are all ready to go, and we'll be back with all of it in a moment. You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade, live from Portland, Oregon.
The Rose Festival, Portland's crowning glory, featuring 54 events and activities ranging from a celebrity ski race to a hot air balloon classic. Portland area youngsters display their ingenuity at the milk carton boat races, while the nation's finest high school marching musicians sound off at the Festival of Bands. Don't overlook the Rose Festival drags or motocross. Don't miss the 1985 Rose Festival starting May 31st. For more information, write Rose Festival, Post Office Box 2, Portland, Oregon 97207.
Well, as we said, you're in for a big time today. This is going to be a really big parade, a lot of units in it. There are a lot of floats. We have over 30 floats. We have, as Tracy said, a couple of dozen bands and all kinds of equestrian units. And it's going to be starting right past our parade platform here in just a few moments. Actually, there are hundreds of thousands of people, wouldn't you say, are going to be watching along the streets of Portland.
That's right. We hear the first siren starting to come in of the police escort. This year's theme is, of course, a ticket in my pocket, and we have tickets to everything fun and adventuresome in the Northwest in this parade.
Tickets to anywhere you want to go. And, of course, we're telecasting this parade across the country, and so there are millions, literally millions, going to be watching out there in television land. So we're excited about bringing it to you. We see now that we have the initial police units coming along the line of march. Actually, this parade starts in Memorial Coliseum in Portland. It goes through the Coliseum, and a huge crowd in there, a sellout crowd, almost 13,000 people watching. And right behind the police group from Portland is this group from Seattle. And aren't they great, Tracy?
They are such a crowd pleaser, Richard. Everyone loves them. This is the Seattle Police Motorcycle Drill Team, as Richard mentioned, from Seattle, Washington. You know, actually what they're doing here is very practical. It looks very showy for a parade, but this is for crowd control. They use it on a little more limited basis and in their work every day.
That would tend to kind of spread out the crowd a little bit. Get the people back on the curbsides, huh?
But these officers are just the regular traffic motorcycle squads from the department up in Seattle. This is a little extracurricular activity, and they travel all around the Northwest performing for the groups.
If I may say so, they're a bit of a show-off, too, I think.
Well, they deserve to be. They're very good. They've been doing this since 1950. Crowd loves them. They've been in the Floral Parade several times back in 1981 and 1983. Regular old motorcycles, too. Nothing special about those bikes, although I don't think I'd be trying this on the street in front of my house much if I were you.
Just ordinary cycles and ordinary cops, too, really. And I don't know how they do that at such slow pace. That's what gets me.
I just take my breath away when they do that. I'm sure they're going to crash into each other.
It's scary, but they're smiling. They're not worried about it.
They do this by practicing going through very slow speeds through obstacle drill courses that they set up, and they weave in and out, probably out of cones and things like that.
Here's a high shot from the blimp, I believe. This is from the Goodyear blimp, which is flying high over the parade route. We actually have 7 camera positions from which we'll be covering this parade today. And one of those cameras is being manned by Chuck Burney up in that Goodyear blimp.
We're so glad to have the blimp with us this year. They'll be giving you a bird's eye view of things off and on throughout the entire parade.
We also have a camera position that is on a tall building right across the street, and they'll be also getting a good high shot of the parade. And then we have 4 cameras right down on the street.
And we just have to brag just a bit because we love Portland so much. It is a beautiful day for a parade.
Started out a little cloudy, and we had a few sprinkles before the parade began, but once these cops came along, sun came out and everything's gonna turn up roses. We just know it is. Here's the Pontiac pace car driven by one of our Benson High School Royal Court drivers. Pontiac is the official car of the Rose Festival. It supplies the cars to the Royal Court, the Junior Court, and all of the Rose Festival officials and dignitaries. By the way, Pontiac is also the official car of the CART PPC Indy car races, which will be held here in Portland next weekend.
A new addition to the Rose Festival, and everyone is very excited. Coming into view now, we have the first of one of several color guards in this parade, the U.S. Navy Recruit Depot Color Guard from San Diego, California. We actually have 3 color guards that begin this parade, a military color guard, a color guard band, and a color guard equestrian unit as well. The thing I love most about this is that these guys are chosen by their height as well as their ability.
Now we're looking at the Oregon Association of Mounted Posses, a color guard of 48 riders, 4 riders from each of 12 mounted posses here in Oregon. This is the first time in the Grand Floral Parade that we've presented a riding group that represents all sworn sheriff's posses. All of these men are deputized by their respective county sheriffs. They do mounted search and rescue operations in between parades. And they of course, horses are invaluable in searching areas that would be otherwise inaccessible to vehicles or people on foot. All of these men, by the way, own their own horses, and they undertake up to 80 hours of training every year in various phases of search and other police work.
And the music you're hearing is, of course, was the Drum and Bugle Corps from San Diego, California as well, provided by the U.S. Navy.
48 horses, 48 riders, and 48 flags.
And the crowd stands at attention to salute our country's flag.
We might mention that during the course of this parade, you'll not be missing any elements in the parade simply because we're cutting away for a commercial. Because actually, we've got an in with the Rose Festival Association, and they stop the parade for our commercials. So you won't miss a thing.
Well, everyone
get any
wants to
feeling
be on
that the parade's
That's
passing
right.
you by.
That's right. You won't miss a thing. Everyone wants to be on national TV. Understandable.
This is a kind of an unusual situation because the very first float in our parade today has won the sweepstakes trophy. And that's a little unusual for the first float to be considered the very best float in the parade. Actually, the first float position is awarded simply because this organization won last year's sweepstakes, the Grand Sweepstakes Award. And this float is entered by First Interstate Bank of Oregon, and we're going to have a look at it in just a minute.
Quite a reputation for excellence they do have. The Sweepstakes Award is, of course, for the most outstanding float in the parade.
So for 2 years in a row, First Interstate Bank has taken the Sweepstakes Award, and here it is, a truly elegant float with a grand swan up front. And that swan is truly a beautifully done piece of float decoration. And on the float, of course, are all kinds of Sonia roses. Those pink roses are Sonias. And by the way, this being a floral parade, every bit of every float, every inch, must be covered by something that grows. A flower, a bark, a seed, something that grows. And isn't that a beautiful float?
Oh, Richard, that one is just lovely. I just wish you folks at home could smell these floats as well.
Oh, yeah.
The
Riding on the
fragrance
float.
is lovely.
Riding on the float are the princess and prince. Christopher Stewart is the prince. He's 12 years of age. Jennifer O'Neill is the princess, and she's just 10.
And of course, behind them is our official greeters and goodwill ambassadors for the Rose Festival. This is the Royal Rosarian Marching Unit. Really, it's just a few of the Rosarians who march, but they are probably 200 strong, I would guess, led by Worth Caldwell, the Prince Regent of the Rosarians. And they're in their formal white suits, straw hats, and white shoes, and they've been wearing similar outfits, not the same ones, since way back in 1912.
They raise those boulders and salute to the crowd and get a nice round of applause.
And they do so much work for the festival. They are.
Yeah, I don't know that we could put on a festival without the help of these fellows.
And if we did, it wouldn't be near as much fun. That's all I have to say. They're a great group.
They go out and encourage business firms to build and enter floats in the parade. They travel around the country representing Portland. They raise a lot of money here in Portland to be able to sponsor these parades.
I'm sure at festivals across the country, for some of you watching in other parts, you have probably seen the Rosarians in your own parades. They do visit many places.
And they enjoy they enjoy marching in the parade. There's one man, I can't remember his age, but he's somewhere in the 70s. And you know, he
Just
has
a
marched
young
in
fellow.
parades for years.
And our second float tonight wins the Leith Abbott Award. Now this one is for probably the best use of humor, and I just adore it. It's entered by Lloyd Center, and they're saluting the Oregon Symphony Orchestra. 5 huge penguins, all dressed up like musicians there. And actually the music playing from the float is recordings of the Oregon Symphony as well. They decided to do this because each year the Oregon Symphony puts on a free Rose Festival family concert over in Lloyd Center on the Ice Pavilion, and it's just so much fun for everyone who participates. You know, the black on those penguins, I couldn't figure out what nature would be black, Richard, and as we mentioned, it all has to be something from nature. Those are black magnolia leaves.
Here's Lyle Cobb. He's been entering Portland Rose Festival since 1946. For years and years, we've had Lyle Cobb with that entry in the full silver class. Lyle's wearing a kind of a hot pink Western parade suit, and
more equestrian units coming, Richard. This is from the Tillamook County Equestrian Court. 2 riders there, that's Princess Jan Inman and Princess Jane Upton. They're in royal blue. And beautiful horses. You'll see plenty more as the day goes on. They even decorate the horses, so Richard, don't you love that?
oh yeah, even the horses have to have flowers somewhere.
That's right.
It's a floral parade.
Can't
So.
get in this parade unless you've got a bouquet pinned on you somewhere. Those gals are both from Cloverdale, Oregon. We sure welcome them. Thank them for participating this year.
Last night here in Portland, we had what we call the Festival of Bands. And we have a great number of bands. Oh, I guess there are 7 or 8 bands that participate in this very strong competition. This is done at Civic Stadium in Portland. And this band that's coming along here now took 2nd place in last night's competition. This is the Montezuma Cortez High School Band from Cortez, Colorado. 115 members. You folks over there in Colorado, you may be able to pick up our coverage on KDVR TV in Denver. So you may, if you're watching there, you may spot some people you know in this band. This is the first of 5 guest bands in this year's Rose Festival. Tracy, in order for these band members to get to Portland, they made 6,000 pizzas, sold 3,000 chocolate Easter bunnies, 2,000 chocolate Santa Clauses.
They really wanted to come, Richard.
Right.
Following them right now is Barbara Cyrus, the president of the Portland Rose Society, because right behind her will be the float that won the Rose Society trophy. Do you love the car? It's a 1913 white touring car.
Yeah, right. The Rose Society trophy is given to the float that makes the best use of roses. That's the qualification for the Rose Society trophy. Of course, this Rose Festival is really staged and backed by three organizations: the Portland Rose Festival Association, the Rose Society, and those Royal Rosarians that you saw marching a little bit
And
ago.
what a marvelous job they do. And here is the Rose Society winner, entered by the Aerospace Machinists Union number 751, America, Land of the Free. Now, the union is headquartered up in Seattle there, and they generally choose a lovely patriotic theme. This has a huge flag on it, freestanding. There is also some drummers and a fifer on board. Queen Diana Kiesel is riding there. 12,000 red and white carnations for the stripes on that flag. Isn't that beautiful?
That's how you get the Rose Trophy, when you use that many roses.
Oh,
and in that fashion.
That is something. And right behind them, the Oregon State University Mounted Drill Team. 12 riders there from the Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon. We'll be right back. We're going to take a short break. You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon.
Hello, America. We're the Aquinas High School Marching Band and Lancerettes from Fort Madison, Iowa. We're proud to be part of the Portland Rose Festival celebration.
And hello to you, Aquinas High School Band from Fort Madison, Iowa. What a wonderful band they are. This is an award-winning band with 140 students. They've been to Germany, to the Olympic Games, to Disneyland, and now to Portland, Oregon. Welcome to them.
Imagine there are only 140 kids in that school, and 85 of them are in the band.
I love it, Richard.
Here we have Oregon's Governor, Vic Atiyeh, and we're going to have a chance to chat with him. I see he's got a microphone there.
Hello, Governor.
Glad to have you with us.
Well, thank you, Richard Tracy. It's good to be with you again at the parade. It's great day.
Can we credit you with having held off the rain showers this morning?
As long as the rain holds off, yes, I'll take credit for it.
Tell us, Governor, isn't this the best parade you've seen so far?
Well, I'll tell you, this year, each one of them are just seem to get progressively better. I must say they're very, very exciting for me. Dolores and I really enjoy this.
That's a beautiful Franklin the Governor is riding in, a Franklin Pirate Phaeton with Dr. Cliff Strandberg of Portland driving.
Thank you, Governor Atiyeh. Take me out to the ball game. You should recognize that crew in front there. That is the famed Budweiser Clydesdale visiting the Grand Floral Parade this year. Aren't they gorgeous animals, I'll tell you. This is a setting from a village park back in the 1890s when we take a look at the float, and on that float you will see Lou Brock from the St. Louis Cardinals, baseball immortal, and his wife are also on there today. See the little, where's the puppy? They must have moved the dog. There's a little Dalmatian on there as well, and that's Miss Michelob. You've got to watch for her. They won the governor's trophy. There's Lou Brock himself. Oh, and the crowd welcoming him.
He's riding on an early day carriage up front in that float.
You know, this is the 6th year that Budweiser has participated, and what a delight they are.
You catch the man on the high-wheeler bicycle over there on the far side? Think you could ride one of those?
No way.
Here's the queen of the Snake River Stampede, Joan Osterhout from Twin Falls, Idaho. You folks watching over there on KBCI will enjoy seeing the queen in her beautiful red outfit. And here's Linda Peterson from Battleground, Washington. She's wearing a free-flowing Arabian outfit in harmony with her mount, a dapple gray Arabian stallion. Just a whole lot of equestrian units in this parade, and you can't imagine the time and energy spent in getting those horses ready. These people, I somehow get the feeling that the horse riders are the proudest people in the parade.
Well, and their horses are so beautifully trained. It's not easy to take them out into a crowd this size, and the crowd continues to grow. We should mention that, especially for those watching in the local vicinity, that the floats will be on display following the parade, and also the wonderful Clydesdale horses are stabled over near Lloyd Center, and you can go over and take a little closer peek through tomorrow. We're seeing up close. And there's our friends, the Goodyear blimp.
The blimp will be, well, it's been here for several days here in Portland during the festival, and it'll be flying over the parade route through our coverage today, and we, of course, have a camera aboard it.
Hello, I'm Queen Susana Bojorquez, and this is my car, Lourdes and Roxana, from the Rose City of Guadalajara, Mexico. We are proud to be part of the Grand Floral Parade and send our greetings to all American Canada.
And thank you, Miss Guadalajara. This is entered by Western Airlines, a parade within a parade. You'll notice there's several little floats right along in that one float, representing New York City, Guadalajara, Mexico, and the country of Mexico. Miss Guadalajara, this is her first time to ride in our parade, I believe, and we sure are pleased to have her with us. Queen Susana from Guadalajara.
Now we have the Cowlitz Valley Chaparrals, 19 riders in all. They come from the state of Washington, from Cowlitz County, Longview, Kelso, Castle Rock, Windlock, Rainier, Platts Kenai.
Doing a little fast stepping for us there with their horses in navy blue fuchsia pink blouses. Perfect for the Rose Festival.
You betcha. Look at all those sequins on those vests, huh?
Oh, they look pretty flashy. They do this at quite a few places throughout northern Oregon and southwest Washington. They perform, they practice long hours to do this.
I think they're going to do a little performance for us now. A little peeling off to the right and the left. Hey. Coming back to form a column of twos. There are 32 floats entered in today's Grand Floral Parade, and they didn't get here by accident or by magic. The crews of industrious artists and designers and pedal pusher spent thousands of hours planning and constructing each of the magnificent floats you're going to see today. There are specific rules now in the parade, which is second only in size to the Pasadena Floral Parade in California. The people who work around the clock behind the scenes pride themselves on the all-natural materials that we mentioned to decorate every float. Thousands of varieties of flowers, and beautiful floats they are.
They are wonderful, and the bands are just as delightful.
This is a Broomfield High School band, another of our guest bands, this one from Broomfield, Colorado. 110 members in this band. We hope you're watching there at KDVR in Denver. This is this school's first year as a four-year high school, and more than half the band members are new this year. How'd you like to be the director of that outfit, huh? They carried on all kinds of fundraising events, as all band members do, in order to be able to come to the festival. They sold Christmas trees and Rose Festival pins. They, too, were in last night's Festival of Bands. Broomfield High School Eagles.
Those Rose Festival pins must be quite a souvenir item in Denver, huh?
Oh, yeah, we send those out from here and give them permission to sell them. We sell them to them at low cost. They sell them and make money in order to get the kids to come.
That's great.
I'm sure they washed a lot of cars and made and sold a few donuts, too, huh? The parade leaves Memorial Coliseum's north parking lot. This is where you see them marching right now. And then they move out onto Broadway, and it's a 4-mile march from here in through downtown Portland. They move out onto Broadway and down Union Avenue, across the Burnside Bridge, and down into downtown Portland, where there are literally hundreds of thousands of people gathered at the curbside in order to watch. Here's the Pasadena Tournament of Roses float that has won the Queen's Trophy. This, they're following the theme, A Ticket to New Year's Day. Of course, they're plugging their Tournament of Roses, which takes place on New Year's Day.
Who's that up front, Richard?
Up front is California's favorite granny. You know, the little grandma. And this year she has graduated from a car to a moped.
That's right. Little old lady from Pasadena.
Right, and there, right behind her, of course, is a replica of the Rose Bowl. And you see all the people in the Rose Bowl? Each people is a rosebud.
What a fun idea that is.
Yeah, that's great. There's the grandma from Pasadena who has switched to mopeds this year.
Do you believe this, Richard? It's the 48th year they've participated.
That's right.
Coming up now, Karen Jo Mura from Oregon City, Oregon. Karen's outfit is royal and navy blue and white. Her horse is a bay and white pinto mare, and what a beautiful horse it is.
This is the Columbia River Appaloosa Court.
They're from Kelso, Washington, and Beaverton, Oregon. With the black boots and pants and hot pink tuxedo jackets there, and Queen Susan Graham from Kelso, Washington, one of the princesses you're looking at there. All of their horses, of course, are registered Appaloosas.
Those princesses are sisters, actually, the Garlarno sisters,
Isn't
Dawn
that
and
fun?
Rhonda.
Here's a quick entry in the parade. It's going to be a fast 4 miles for him, isn't it?
We don't even have his name.
No, but we think he's fun.
It's great. I don't know how you ride one of those things that high.
Very carefully.
Yes. And you notice there's no gear ratio to it at all.
You know, one of the highlights of this week, of course, is the arrival of the Rose Festival fleet. There's a lot of ships lined up down the harbor. Oh, isn't that grand?
This is the way it looked when they pulled in midweek last Wednesday.
That's right. We have 20 ships in town already for the festivities. 8 Navy ships, 4 from the Coast Guard, and 8 from the Canadian Navy as well. And 5,000 sailors have invaded Portland. Welcome to all 5,000 of you.
Here's the Lincoln High School Band from Stockton, California. Another one of our guest bands from out of state. Drum major there, Warren Ito. These are the Trojans. An impressive array of awards this band has stacked up. They've won the Cupertino Tournament of Bands. They took first place in the Pleasanton Foothill Band Review and another first place in the Monterey Park Band Review. Let's take a listen.
They are good. And now we're taking a look at the float entered by the Farmers Insurance Group, and what a float this is. This is called Your Ticket to Nature, and all over it there is wild animals that have been sculptured and then covered in natural products, seeds, flowers, leaves, and riding on board there is our 1983 Portland Rose Festival queen, Kira Rimble. What a lovely queen she was. Farmers Insurance has entered a float in the Grand Floral Parade for 20 years. You know, this didn't win any official awards, Richard, but it is a winner. Those are magnificent. One of the big buffalo or whatever it is on there, it looks like it's all made out of pine needles. They've stuck it in to make it a little bit rough.
That was a terrific job in putting those, in decorating those. I don't know, you don't decorate an animal, you create it, I guess.
You kind of do decorate the float.
Very
that
artistic
counts.
work. Miss Appaloosa America, riding along here, Shannon McCullough from Hillsboro, Oregon. You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade, live from Portland, Oregon.
Grand Floral Parade. This is the Glencoe High School Band from Hillsboro, Oregon. They've only been in existence 3 years and they've already won 2 sweepstakes awards in the Starlight Parade held last Saturday and another award in the Grand Floral Parade, the Crimson Tide.
Seattle Seafair delegation, and here's the Seattle float. And the title of this float, Oregon, a Northwest Wonderland. Seattle paying a little tribute to the state of Oregon. You folks watching on KOMO up there will recognize the Seattle Seafair Queen of the Seas, Susan St. John, King Neptune Rex the 34th, Jack Deardorff, and the Prime Minister, Tim Bullard. A truly beautiful float with a huge number of peonies on the float and just loads and loads of flowers. Notice that bridge on which the seafair dignitaries are standing, stretching from the front element of the float all the way to the rear. This float is co-sponsored by Oregon 7-Eleven stores. This year, Seafair and 7-Eleven have joined together.
They have a lovely festival all their own up there in August, Richard.
Yeah, that's on August the 3rd, isn't it, when they have the Grand Torchlight Parade. Here's Margie Sells of Eugene, Oregon. She's entered in the costume class with a green metallic outfit, solid silver sequin serape. And then we have from Rancho La Paz.
This is Tom Soya from Sherwood, Oregon. Now this is a Peruvian peso horse. They say they're about the smoothest horses in the world to ride. Certainly bright.
Yeah.
And here comes the Battleground High School Band from Battleground, Washington, 100 members strong. How'd you like to carry that tuba 4 miles, huh?
Of course, since they started making the bells out of plastic, they're a lot lighter to carry than when I was a kid.
Dedication of the Mount St. Helens National Monument.
Of course, they're right in Mount St. Helens' backyard, you know.
That's
That's
right.
where the Battleground's located.
And here's a float that won the Silver Rose Trophy, entered by the Battleground Chamber of Commerce, Over the Rainbow, one of my personal favorites, based on The Wizard of Oz, which I think I've seen at least 20 times now. I can recite it for you if you want, but I guess you want to look at the float instead. And on that float is Queen Carrie Gustafson.
There's
The rest
Dorothy.
Yeah, that's Carrie there, dressed
Naturally.
as Dorothy with the wizard. The rest of the court got to be little munchkins.
Right. We also have the Tin Woodman and the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow.
Really a
Fun
cute float, it is. This is made by the community. You know, many of the floats are, of course, designed and built by professional float builders.
Sure.
This is done by the Battleground community, and they did a wonderful job with it again this year.
Coming up now, the Pendleton Roundup Queen and the Royal Court. And of course, they're plugging the Pendleton Roundup, one of the greatest roundups, rodeos in the country, on September 12th through the 15th. The Queen is Lisa Martin from Adams, Oregon, and she has 4 princesses riding with her: Katie Sorey, Candy Turner, Nancy Miller, Cindy Insco.
And here we have the Happy Canyon Princesses, 2 riders there. These are young Indian girls that represent the Happy Canyon pageant, which is also an annual feature of the Pendleton Roundup, Richard. They're wearing beaded buckskin outfits. And who do we have here from El Paso, Texas? Looks like the Sun Bowl Queen.
That's Ann Bowling. She rides in one of the official Rose Festival Pontiacs. Ann is a marketing major at the University of Texas at El Paso. Also on her biography, I note she is a Chi Omega sorority sister. Ann, by the way, speaks both English and Spanish.
Hello, we're the Calgary Police Pipe Band from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'd like to say we're very pleased to be marching in Portland's Grand Floral Parade, and we'd like to say hello to the Canadian viewers and our American friends, and a special hello to Bill and Betty Young back in Calgary.
And a very special welcome to the Calgary Police Pipe and Drum Band in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We do have many Canadian viewers enjoying the parade today. This is actually a regular unit of the Calgary, Alberta, Canada City Police Department Strike Force Unit, if you can believe that.
And of course, another entry from Canada, the Edmonton Klondike Days float. They're inviting us with they have a ticket in the pocket for the Edmonton Klondike Days. For 10 days each July, Edmonton turns back time to the 1890s to celebrate the famous Klondike Gold Rush. This float is just literally covered with yellow straw flowers and grass cloth, and really a pretty float.
It's huge, too. They picked up the international trophy, Richard. Best entry outside of the continental United States. It's nice to know we're in an international parade.
We hope you're watching us up there at CFRN in Edmonton, Alberta.
Here's Larry White from Beaverton, Oregon. Dressed up as a knight. Well, it's not exactly shining armor, is it? But it's green and black with gold and white trim. Kind of a medieval knight. And right behind him, the Yamhill County Fair and Rodeo Court with 3 riders there. Queen Nettie Sawyers from Yamhill, Oregon, Princess Jennifer Heiser, and Princess Angela Means.
This is Dudley Strain, who's president of the Portland Rose Festival Association, riding along in a 1914 Pierce Arrow touring car driven by Harold Berenson.
And there's good reason why Dudley's placed right here, because coming up next will be the float that won the President's Trophy. This man has been working so hard during this festival. It's nice he gets to take a break and ride in the parade.
Right. That's Dudley in the back seat there on the right on your screen. Riding with him, his children and his wife, his little daughter.
Great cars. And here it is from the U.S. National Bank, the President's Trophy, a ticket to paradise. One of the most interesting things about this float is the waterfall. 500 gallons of water. They had to build this float especially real sturdy, the chassis on it.
Had to make a special chassis with a lot of extra steel. Well, actually, what they really have in there is a pickup truck. Would you believe it?
No.
A pickup truck chassis inside.
Now, that water may not look too dramatic to you, but it weighs 4,000 pounds, and there's a huge pump recycling it. All tropical flowers on that float. Many of them were flown in from Hawaii.
All tropical birds, too, you notice? Up there on the tops of the trees.
Beautiful float.
Aloha, we're the Hawaii Pa'u Riders from Honolulu, Hawaii, and this is our 3rd year in the Grand Floral Parade. Mahalo.
And of course, we're sending the parade to KSHO TV in Honolulu. And here are the ladies from Honolulu, and they're a great group of people. They have more fun when they get off the islands and come to the mainland. They're just having a ball here.
And the sun is shining on them. Welcome back.
Here are their escorts riding along.
You are watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon.
The Rose Festival, Portland's crowning glory, featuring 54 events and activities ranging from a celebrity ski race to a hot air balloon classic. This year, for the first time, Indy cars will test the Portland International Raceway. The big names in auto racing, Mario Andretti, Tom Sneva, Al Unser, and others, will compete for prize money and points in the CART IndyCar World Series. For more information about the kart races and the 1985 Rose Festival, write to Rose Festival, Post Office Box 2, Portland, Oregon 97207.
Beautiful aerial pictures of Portland and the Grand Floral Parade from the Goodyear airship Columbia, piloted by Nick Nicolari. And our cameraman Chuck Burney aboard is taking those shots. By the way, Olinger Travel Homes has done a very nice thing for us here. We want to pay a special thanks to Olinger for supplying our crew with a recreational vehicle at the parade site. Olinger Travel Homes, #1 Itasca dealer in America.
And the crowd's giving a big hand right now to the Aloha High School Band from Beaverton, Oregon, 95 members, the Aloha Warrior Band. To brag too much, Richard, but we must have some of the best bands in the country.
Well, certainly we have a dandy bunch of bands in this year's parade. We really, you know, we really search the country to find excellent bands that will add something to the parade. This float is entered by Northwest Natural Gas Company, and it's a salute to Portland's performing arts. Of course, we're building a new performing arts center here in Portland, and riding up front in that float is Neil Gittleman, who is a conducting assistant with the Oregon Symphony. Then we have the dancers Cher Goad and Michael O'Connor with Pacific Ballet Theater, and we also have David Immel, who is a mime artist. There's David doing a little invisible juggling, would you say? There's Neil Gittleman up front. The Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall is to be the first element of our new Performing Arts Center, and it will be opening in September. Now we have the Phoenix, Arizona Fiesta Bowl Queen, Rosanna Rascon. The Fiesta Bowl, of course, takes place on, well, the celebration starts New Year's Eve and goes through New Year's Day and the Fiesta Bowl football game. And here is their float.
This won the Judges Trophy from the Fiesta Bowl Association, Fiesta Forever. That's what we're doing today. A lot of intricate scroll work reminiscent of, well, like tooled leather designs almost. You know, they paint all of that first, and then they put the petals and the flowers on it, so it's like doing double duty there, I'll tell you.
Kind of flower by number is what it amounts to, really. Yeah.
That center panel kind of rotates around to show some what they call floragraphs on both sides of it. Sherry Henry, the parade chairman, riding that float, and the Fiesta Bowl president, Tom Fredina, and his wife, Pat. And now the Spokane Valley Banditos from the Shriners from Spokane, Washington. They are a shrine club which rides little, or I guess I shouldn't say little, they're actually medium-sized burros, Richard. Aren't they great? Sombreros, everything.
Big enough to keep their feet from dragging anyway.
They formed this back in 1967. They have about 28 members, about 10 to 12 come to each parade.
I know they got a lot of friends watching on KREN TV over there in Spokane.
And one of our old standbys, the Salvation Army Band, 100 members. Stephen Smith there is the director for them. Traditional tambourines, combining musicians from Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia. Salvation Army was formed back in 1865 by William Booth.
Terrific brass section.
And what honorable work they do.
Yes. Here's the float entered by Hannah Car Wash Systems, and they're following the theme, A Ticket to the Portland 200. That's the big Indy car race that we're going to be having here in Portland next week. Now, I want you to take special note. These replicas of Indy cars, Indy-sized cars, looks like they're having a little trouble with that one, but they're actually being driven, or meant to be, driven around the track. Now, notice they go clockwise.
This would make me crazy to do this.
The Indianapolis race, you know, runs counterclockwise, but the smaller races that the kart people run go clockwise. And they also have a couple of pit stops. You notice that car in the pits up front? I tell you, we're having a little trouble with the motor
I think
here.
gravity is working against them, Richard. They're kind of tipping down a bit as they take those corners.
Should mention riding on this float is Mario Andretti, race car driver extraordinaire, former Grand Prix world champion and Indy 500 winner. Here's the Queen from the Minneapolis, Minnesota Aquatennial. I should say Princess, Holly Benson.
We're taking a quick look there at Mario Andretti.
Yeah, there's Mario. He snuck in on us. Holly is 19 years old. She comes from Anoka, Minnesota. Attends the University of Minnesota. She's majoring in business. Also plays piano and flute. A flautist, no doubt.
She knew it was going to be a beautiful day.
She represents the 1984 Minneapolis Aquatennial, which comes in July every year.
Oh, Richard, I'm so excited about this entry. It's our first time we have had the Wesley Bell Ringers from Salt Lake City, Utah. They actually march and ring their handbells. Let's enjoy them for just a minute.
Oh, the crowd loves them.
Oh, they're so fun. They're from the Christ United Methodist Church of Salt Lake City.
Happy to say we're sending this to KSL TV in Salt Lake.
And right behind them, Reliable Transfer and Storage Company Incorporated, a ticket to the big top. It represents colorful circus tents and children riding on the floats as clowns. I bet they're having a good time. Nothing's more fun than riding the float. This is their 33rd year for being in the parade for Reliable Transfer. And these same little Shetland ponies that you see up in the front, they've been in the parade for 20 years.
Here's the delegation from Wenatchee, Washington. You know, they were down here several years ago. And this float is entered by the Applets and Cotlets Company, Northwest Confections. And they're suggesting you have a ticket in your pocket to the 1985 Washington State Apple Blossom Festival.
One time they had a horse unit following them, and I guess they ate the apples off the back of their float, so they don't put too many apples on the floats anymore. I love that story.
Yeah, Washington's delectable apples, of course, are just famous all across the country. Now we have the Alcater Shrine Mounted Patrol, 13 riders here. Shriners wearing oriental dress of different colors, giving a sort of an exotic Far Eastern character to the parade. By the way, we have a brand new Shriners Hospital here in Portland for crippled children. State-of-the-art care for any child who needs it. These people have a lot of fun and riding a lot of parades, and a lot of people in the crowds might think they're just out for the fun of it, but the Shriners do a wonderful work in raising money to care for crippled children.
Well, you know, it's just coming up a little bit before the hour, and we're going to take a quick break to our local stations, and we'll be right back.
A tour of Victoria, BC, Monday night at 7.
And there's our beautiful city from the Goodyear blimp. Welcome
Notice
back.
the Navy down on the river there?
That's right. It is a lovely place to be, and we're so glad you're with us for the Grand Floral Parade here in Portland, Oregon.
A great time. We've just got loads of music and loads of beautiful floats to tell you about.
And this is from the David Douglas High School Band in Portland, Oregon, 100 members of the Scots Marching Band, dressed accordingly. How about that? They won the Festival of Band Sweepstakes back in 1976, and last year they received first place in the special 75th Anniversary Grand Floral Parade Spirit of '83 Award.
Here's the float that won the Golden Rose Trophy for the most outstanding commercial float entered under 35 feet in length. This is entered by Irv Lynn Florist, and it has some very highly detailed butterflies. Notice the butterflies are part human there. We have Rhonda Casberg and Blaine Denvers riding, but those beautiful butterflies at the center of the float, And then the float is otherwise made up of a large leaf in the center, and then at the front of the float, more butterflies and more flowers. Roses are covering the front and back section.
All Oregon-grown roses, we might add.
And there are 32 varieties of roses on that float. Here we have Jerry and Kay Walters of Durham, California. And people watching down there on KOVR in Sacramento will enjoy seeing Jerry and Kay in the costume class, authentic Peruvian-style costume.
And here we have Miss Pacific International Livestock Exposition, Deanna Van Cole from Hillsboro, Oregon. All dressed in orange and black. And right behind her, Miss Sheridan Rodeo, Shonda Smith from Sheridan, Oregon. Dressed in bright orange today. She resides in Dallas, Oregon. Carrying quite a bouquet behind her there.
We want to pay special thanks to Evelyn Florist, by the way, for providing all of these beautiful yellow roses here in front of us.
We've been threatening to pick them.
Back here we have some beautiful red roses, and Evelyn is supplying many of the flowers too on the floats in Portland.
And the beautiful butterfly float was from Evelyn.
They've been in business here for over 50 years. Here's a band from my part of the country, Lake Ridge High School Band from Lake Oswego, Oregon. This is one of two high schools in the Lake Oswego area. They've appeared before in both the Grand Floral Parade and the Starlight Parade. The Pacers from Lake Ridge High School. By the way, we mentioned the Starlight Parade. Actually, there are 3 parades here in Portland during Rose Festival time. The Starlight Parade comes first. That's a nighttime parade, of course, with lighted floats. And then midweek, we have a junior parade, which is the largest in the entire nation. There are, can you believe it, 10,000 youngsters march through the northeast part of Portland. And then, of course, this Grand Floral Parade on the following Saturday. Here we have Disneyland's ambassador, Ellen Coleman, riding in one of those official Pontiac cars. Ellen is 22 years old, and she has a degree in communications from California State University at Fullerton. She's just flown into Portland to pay a special visit to the Rose Festival, having returned just this week from a European tour where she was promoting all of the Disney attractions here in the United States. Say hello to your friends down there watching on KHJ Los Angeles. She began with Disneyland in 1980. She was first a culinary hostess, and then in December of '82, she became a tour guide.
And here comes our Grand Marshal, Al Unser Jr., of course, the IndyCar driver. And what a family he comes from. Of course, we know his dad, Al Sr., his uncle, Bobby Unser. They both won the Indianapolis 500 3 times. Will be taking part in the Portland 200. Nice he could join us. Do you like the car, Richard?
That car is a beauty. This is specially built, owned by Classic Chauffeur of Portland. And this is built from a 1965 Lincoln President Parade convertible.
What a dandy. And here is the Grand Marshal Award-winning float from Pacific Southwest Airlines, Ticket in My Pocket, to Disneyland. You should recognize some of the people on that float. I shouldn't have to tell you who that is. That's Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and the whole crew. Pluto, Pinocchio. Fun float. This is PSA's second time to appear in the Grand Floral Parade. They chose this because they consider themselves the official airline of Disneyland. And this year also, they're sponsoring the PSA Hot Air Balloon Classic for the Rose Festival. Should be just gorgeous to see all those huge hot air balloons.
Professional hot air balloon pilots, and it's going to be a 3-day balloon show and competition.
They do actually compete to see who can land in the right spot and who can make it there on time. This is the Duggett Sheriff Mounted Patrol, because they're from Douglas County, from Roseburg, Oregon. Leading the way is Sheriff Norm Neal, Deputy Sheriff Don Lyons.
15 riders in all. You people watching on KEZI Eugene will enjoy seeing the people who live just a little ways south from you.
You know, we'd also like to give some special thanks to some of our very favorite people. KATU's Executive Vice President Tom Dargan, our Vice President and General Manager Skip Hinman, and our Vice President and Station Manager Bob Kalstead. They put in a lot of work and effort in making this special 64 station network coverage. We're certainly delighted that they are our bosses, I must add.
Good folks to work for. We don't have to say that.
No, we don't. The equestrian unit is still making its way by in their gold and brown uniforms.
And in just a moment, coming up on camera, the Portland Civic Band, 120 members. This is sometimes called the All-City Band. Actually, the Civic Band is its correct name, directed by Steve Roberts. The band marched for the first time in the Grand Floral Parade in 1982. That was the band's public debut, really. It was formed that spring with enthusiastic support from Mayor Frank Ivanson. Band's made up of outstanding musicians from all of the cities, or many of the city's high schools. The motto, Portland Pride on the March. And already they've taken some first place awards. They took first place in the Seattle Seafair Torchlight Parade and the Albany Timber Carnival Parade, the Astoria Regatta Parade. Now this band is in this position in the parade because the Queen's float is coming along right behind. You know, we crown a queen here in Oregon, a queen of the festival, Queen of Rosaria we call her, and that coronation took place a week ago last night.
Festival is the Starlight Parade. Now that was held last Saturday. It's only 9 years old, but it certainly is one of the favorites. It all starts out, as you can see, with a Starlight Run, a 7-kilometer affair involving some 8,000 sprinters, striders, a few strollers here and there. They have frequently outrageous racing attire is just as much a show as the race itself. The Grand Marshal of this year's parade was Olympic gold medalist Debbie Armstrong, who won this year's giant slalom in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. The parade features bands and drill teams from throughout the Northwest, even one from Canada. But the real stars of the show are these wonderfully, brightly illuminated floats placed near the end of the parade to take full advantage of the darkness. One float carried the newly crowned Queen of Rosaria as well, Stephanie Dara. There she is. Hello, Steph. Lovely gal.
Speaking of Stephanie Dara, here is her very own float, which was built and entered by the Coca-Cola bottlers of Oregon. This is the Coronation float with Queen Stephanie Dara. And Queen Stephanie, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, this is just the beginning. You going to be able to keep that up for 4 miles?
Oh, I think so. The crowd's great. They just make it even easier.
Isn't it wonderful that the weather has turned out so beautifully? It's not too hot, not too cold, not wet, right, Stephanie?
Right, just hope it holds up for the rest of the parade.
Oh, have faith, Steph, it will.
I hope so.
Your friends out there at Central Catholic High School did a beautiful job. You know, they had a little trouble getting enough people to put all the flowers on the float. And here, shots you're looking at of the moment when Stephanie was crowned.
That's Central for you. They've got more spirit than any other school I've ever seen. I'm serious, they're great. I love them all.
Well, we think you're great too, Steph. Hope you have a wonderful year. What are you looking forward to most?
I think just meeting new people at school and going away to college. I think it's going to be great. It'll be a good year.
Well, our congratulations.
We should tell the folks across the country that here at the Portland Rose Festival, our queen is chosen from one of the high schools. We have 11 high schools in Portland. Each high school presents a princess in the competition, and Stephanie won the queenship.
And following Steph today is D.O. Rogers from Bakersfield, California. All the way up from California. Isn't that great? We appreciate him coming. The Washington County Fair and Rodeo Court with 3 riders follows him. Queen Kathy Brooks of Cornelius, Oregon, Princess Shirley Van Dyke, and Princess Casey Westlake.
You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon. Here we have the Park Rose High School Band from Portland, Oregon. Park Rose is a residential and business community lying just east of the Portland city limits. They've been a frequent participant in the Grand Floral Parade. Despite the small size of the area, this high school and its band have a huge spirit and a lot of enthusiasm. They turn out some pretty terrific athletes there at Park Rose, too. Let's listen.
"70 members strong."
Drum major is a girl, Cindy Wallace.
And here's our mayor, Portland Mayor Frank Ivancy, certainly one of the city's biggest supporters. In an official Rose Festival Pontiac, he will be preceding the float that has won the mayor's trophy. Mayor Ivancy, of course, his big push lately is the Bull Run water. He's bottled our water, put a little bit of carbonation in it, and is selling it across the country.
He's a water peddler, huh?
We want to give another thank you to the Goodyear blimp for all these great shots of Portland. Don't we have a pretty city, everyone? Looking down the river there, piloted by Nick Nicolari. And our photographer up there is Chuck Burney. Supplied, of course, by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, that is the airship Columbia.
Great shot of those gray clouds up there, huh?
Well, there's a silver lining.
You betcha. Well, actually, the gray skies are really best for a parade. For one thing, it's more comfortable for the people marching in the parade. They don't get too hot. And secondly, you really get better pictures because you don't have a lot of bright sun and the consequent dark shadows.
Well, we've had plenty of sun coming in our way.
Good parade
as well.
weather.
It is a beautiful day for it and a lovely parade. Still lots more to come. We have plenty of floats, equestrian units, more bands, of course.
As Tracy mentioned, the mayor just went by, and the float that won the mayor's trophy is coming along right behind. This
Supplied.
is at Portland General
That's
Electric.
right, and it's called Springtime Magic. What a lovely one it is. Tropical birds displayed in some really delicate rod work cages there. Parrots and cockatoos, some butterflies. This is put together by the PGE employees, decorated by them rather. All volunteer work there, family oriented. They even get out of work for a few hours to put the flowers on this one. So doing a pretty good job. Very precise. I asked one of the gals, don't you feel kind of bad because the floats only last for a day? She says, oh, no problem. The glue on my hands will last much longer. So she'll have something to remember it by. And this is Linda Meloso from Grandview, Washington. She's riding a black Tennessee Walker named Skipper there. She says it has lots of non-stop motion. This is their 3rd year together in the Grand Floral Parade.
Full silver class. Look at that silver.
Must weigh a bit.
Linda's friends are watching on KIMA Yakima. We mentioned the Festival of Bands a little while ago. Last night, the Festival of Bands was held in Civic Stadium here in Portland. And here's the band that won the sweepstakes of that festival. The Sunset Apollos from Beaverton, Oregon. The Sunset High School Marching Band, one of the premier band organizations of our area. They, by the way, have an excellent stage band that they can break off from this group. The stage band won first place in the Rose Festival Stage Band Classic both years that it entered, in 1981 and 83. That's another one of the musical events that takes place during our festival. But here they are, the Sunset Apollos. And in a second, they're going to get close enough for us to take a good listen to the kind of music that won them the Sweepstakes Award in last night's Festival of Bands.
We'll find out what makes them so special.
might also mention here that the bands are judged in this parade further down in the line of march. So, of course, as they pass our cameras, we don't know which band is going to be judged the sweepstakes winner of this parade.
But we know they're all good, and this band is just beaming today. They have plenty of reason to be proud. The Union Pacific system with the circus trains coming, and here it comes. Obviously it is a circus train. Some live riders on there though, and some cartoon-like animals as well. Plays calliope music from the pipe organ unit.
They had to have a special dispensation in this parade because the float can't ordinarily be longer than about 50 feet. This one's over 100 feet long. And you can see why.
Oh, it's so bright too. Lots of orange marigolds, white mums, carnations, roses, need I mention.
And all of that lavender you see on the parade, magenta Cattleya orchids on the parade, on the float.
Lots of bouquets on the top of each little unit.
Colorful float, really.
Oh, yes.
Brilliant.
Here comes the pipe music and calliope sounds. Following it is Miss Rodeo, Oregon, Jody Miller from Molalla, Oregon. Oregon is, of course, a state known for its many rodeos, both indoor and out. She is representing them all.
Here's the Molalla Buckaroo Association Court. 3 riders here in the rodeo court class, Queen Brenda Bennett of Colton, Oregon, and her princesses Geraldine Cooley and Roxanne Champ. Matched sorrel quarter horses. We have a number of rodeos around, as you mentioned, and the annual Molalla Buckaroo is one of the leading rodeos of this area. It's over the 4th of July weekend.
And we're getting our first look at the Mustang Marching Band from Milwaukee High School in Milwaukee, Oregon. 75 members there. Milwaukee's just south of Portland. They also have a parade, Milwaukee Days Parade.
And they also took part in the Albany Veterans Day Parade. That Albany Veterans Day Parade is really a big affair. It's one of the largest in the country on Veterans Day.
It's going to be a little tougher to get up, I think, about 3 miles down the road. But they're young and energetic.
Isn't it interesting how band marching has changed over the years? Once it was just enough to keep in step. Now you got to do all these intricate things.
I used to march in the band, and it was certainly enough for me just to keep in step.
Portland's newest television channel, Channel 49, KPDX, has entered this float, and this is a remarkable float with a great big figure of Robin Williams right in the center of the float. A number of people riding on the float, and there's Robin. Mork from Ork.
Nanu, nanu.
Yeah. Those starbursts are straw flowers covered with all kinds of straw flowers and baby's breath, and the stars are just loaded with gladiola petals and mums. Really unusual float. The Mork figure is covered with 11 varieties of seeds and carnations, along with glad petals. And his boots are carnations.
Riding up in front is Debbie Epperson. She was a Miss USA contestant from Oregon. She finished in the final 10, also in the national competition.
There's the Burnside Bridge. The parade, as we mentioned a little earlier, moves across some parts of northeast Portland. Then it goes across this bridge into downtown Portland. And you can see some of the units moving across the bridge right now. This shot from our Goodyear blimp.
People lining the streets all along the parade route. A nice crowd out today. And we're glad the rest of you are joining us from across the country, too.
See a few people there on the freeway. They don't care if the parade's going on at all.
I'd pull over and watch. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Beautiful day for it. We should mention that there is a float display for those of you who are watching locally. It goes on up at Lloyd Center. So if you want a little closer look at just how they put all those seeds and petals and pieces onto those floats, you can do so
And
up
it's
at the parking lot.
A lot of people were watching, were looking at those floats on the south parking lot here before the parade began, too. Here's Portland's Mounted Police Bureau Mounted Patrol. These riders are actual policemen who are wearing their regular police uniforms, knee-high riding boots, dark blue campaign hats, and the saddles are decorated with roses.
These guys will be back to work this afternoon. You see them all along down the riverfront through the parks. These are working officers.
In last year's parade, the Mounted Patrol consisted of 8 riders. This year, it's almost doubled in size, which, of course, is a tribute to the popularity and effectiveness of this very special police unit.
And this is from Continental Airlines, the Caribbean Sound. The best part of this float is that it's containing the U.S. Navy Steel Band. Most unusual crew. All the way up from New Orleans, Louisiana.
They're actually playing steel drums, all tuned very special.
Oh, it sounds so fun. It originated back on the island of Trinidad in 1945. As we enjoy them, I'll tell you that you're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon.
The Rose Festival, Portland's crowning glory, featuring 54 events and activities ranging from a celebrity ski race to a hot air balloon classic. Portland area youngsters display their ingenuity at the milk carton boat races, while the nation's finest high school marching musicians sound off at the Festival of Bands. Don't overlook the Rose Festival drags or motocross. Don't miss the 1985 Rose Festival starting May 31st. For more information, write Rose Festival, Post Office Box 2, Portland, Oregon 97207.
And all that applause is for the Tigard High School Band from Tigard, Oregon. 64 members, the Marching Tiger Band. This is a marching band and also a symphonic band. They wear 2 hats, 2 uniforms. With any luck, they'll strike up a tune for us. I see the drum major making his way to the front there. That is drum major Kevin Draz. You know, the drummers have to do this the whole parade.
There's the roll-off. The Benjamin Franklin Savings and Loan Association, and they're offering a ticket to the Rose Parade. This float is a salute to some past themes of the parade. First off, we have the first parade, 1947, A Vacation in Oregon. That's shown at the back of the parade. I think I ought to turn the other way. Up front, we have Don Scholander, a great picture of Don. Of course, his great feat of winning 4 gold medals in the Olympics in 1964, and his picture was on Life magazine cover. In the center, there's that giant jukebox recalling a theme of a 1957 parade, Melodies and Flowers. And And then toward the rear of the parade, we have, rear of the float, we have Gretchen Fraser of Sun Valley, Idaho. She, of course, was the first winner of the Rose Festival Golden Rose ski race, and more importantly, won a gold medal in the slalom and silver medal in the alpine in the 1948 Olympics. Some of the crowd watching the floats go by and kind of bundling up. A bit of a breeze is kicked up here at the moment. But this little lad doesn't care. He's well protected.
No, everybody loves the parade. Not gonna let a little breeze scare you away.
We didn't
Always
have a chance to
balloons.
mention as that float went by, Diana Fredericks Mount, a former Rose Festival queen back in 1976. She was also riding on that last float.
And a view from the air from our Goodyear blimp, the good ship Columbia. Taking a look down the Willamette. The Columbia looking down the Willamette. They all
Right,
tie
how about
together.
that? Portland, of course, is just south of the confluence of the Willamette River as it flows into the Columbia.
That's a look at the eastern side.
Nick Nicolaria is the pilot of the blimp, and Chuck Burney, our cameraman up there.
I am Kuribayashi of Sapporo Portland Sister Groups Associations, and we brought Omikoshi from Sapporo. And Omikoshi is a portable shrine, and Mikoshi Parade is most important and highlight festival in Japan.
Oh, and how lovely that is. Sapporo, Japan, is of course our sister city, and the Mikoshi he was speaking about there is a type of a Buddhist shrine frequently carried at Japanese festivals. This is its first appearance in the Grand Floral Parade. We had a chance to take a little look earlier in the day, and it is magnificent. It is intricately fitted together, all hand-carved wood. Absolutely no nails used in this, and it's valued at $300,000. It is really something to see. They carry this part of the way, and then once in a while they have a little cart that follows along behind where they can take a break for a few moments.
They're going to do that for 4 miles. That's going to get a little tiring, huh?
Aren't they fun, though? This is such a treat.
Very unusual. And of course, it's right ahead of the Iron Frank float, which pays homage to Sapporo.
That's right. It is our sister city. It's a ticket to the land of the rising sun. It's inspired by some very authentic Japanese woodblock illustrations that they looked at. It has a majestic pagoda rising from the sea, and it also has some dancing carp. That's what the fish are on the front of it. And, you know, it's a very important fish to Japanese artists there. There's some vines that are used for the draperies.
And that pagoda in the center is patterned after the actual shrines that the Japanese use in their street festivals.
It's very elaborate.
Here we have Lucille Croshaw from Seattle. She has entered in the full silver class. This is the 17th year that she's entered the Grand Floral Parade. She's become a real crowd favorite. Her Arabian gelding Royal Flush.
And right behind her is the Oregon Pinto Breeders and Exhibitors Association, Queen Anne Court. Queen Gina Clark from Beaverton, Oregon. All in dark blue, royal purple, and of course all decorated with a large quantity of flowers. She has several princesses with her, Tanya Johnson, Roberta Whitelock, and they're of course riding pintos, horses. What else would the Oregon Pinto Breeders ride?
Here's a very unusual float. This is the first year that the Burger King restaurants have entered a float in the Grand Floral Parade, and this one is a tribute to our own Washington Park Zoo. And I want you to take a good close look at these animals as they come by. Look at that marvelous lion up front. And we have several people riding on the float, Mark Asper, Amy Showak, and Tiffany Rao.
Now, Richard, I know we're not supposed to pick favorites, but I have to tell you, this is my favorite float. I love the zoo, and these animals are exquisite.
We had a chance to talk to Bruce Watson, who designed and built this float. And he told me he's been working on this since January. He started the design way back in January. And this float has some of the most remarkable, shows some of the most remarkable use of living things. The seeds, there are all kinds of seeds on that lion's nose. The elephant is done with, what am I trying to say, moss. The dark part is moss. And the lion has coconut fiber for a mane. And here's the tiger at the rear. Those are dried flowers all crumbled up. A remarkable piece of work. Here's the Clan McClay Pipe Band from Portland, Oregon. 25 members in all. These are Portland's old reliable boys. These are amateur musicians. Amateurs, that is, in the sense, all of them are businessmen. They're professionals, artists, all kinds of people who just love this kind of music and like to perform it and soak up the Scottish tradition. George Patterson, the drum major.
And following close behind is the junior court of the Rose Festival. We not only have a senior court, we have a junior court too. The float supplied by KEX Radio, and that is Tony Ellis, the junior queen. She has 7 little princesses, and they're gazing out from kind of a fairy tale-like setting there. There's a spring tree blossoming, and in the back you'll get a glimpse of some little fuzzy forest-type friends, things little girls love. And the Blue Mountain Riders are right behind them, 11 riders in this equestrian unit. Uniforms are in really nice white and red.
These folks come from Walla Walla, Washington.
The town's so nice, they named it twice. Did you know that?
Oh, yes.
Get it?
And I've heard it before.
I'm sorry. Never let it go.
Enthusiastic horsewomen from east of the Cascades up there in the state of Washington. Gonna put on a little show for us here. A little special formation. They carry red and white colors throughout the parade. The uniforms are white with red and white floral shirts. Now we come to the Columbia River High School Band out of Vancouver, Washington, the Chieftains. They get consistently superior ratings at all of the local band festivals. This band has marched in a lot of grand floral parades and also in the Spokane, Washington Lilac Festival parade. And they perform at football halftime shows at the University of Oregon and Oregon State, for example, and at Portland State. Let's take a listen. The Columbia River Chieftains. Portland's neighbor city to the north has been entering floats in the Grand Floral Parade for some 20 years now, and here's the entry this year from Vancouver. They're titled Down Memory Lane, a nostalgic look at the 1930s, complete with a gazebo and a band serenading the passers-by. The Queen, Carrie Gustafson's aboard there, and they have 5 high school juniors from Fort Vancouver and Evergreen High Schools in Vancouver, and their escorts from Clark College.
And following that is Miss Rodeo, Miss Northwest Rodeo, Deborah Spencer. She's dressed in kind of cream today. And this is Miss Clackamas County Fair and Rodeo, Lenita Wagner from Canby, Oregon, representing the Clackamas County Fair and Rodeo, which they have down there.
You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon. Have another look at Portland from the air, from the Goodyear airship Columbia, piloted by Nick Nicolari. Chuck Burney, our cameraman up there, taking these beautiful aerial pictures of Portland.
And Richard, here is the most outstanding band.
We're the Awesome Eagle Show Band and High Seas Dance Team from Centennial High School, Gresham, Oregon. We're looking for our 6th straight Silver Rose Award for the most outstanding band in the Grand Floral Parade.
As he mentioned, they've won the most outstanding band in the Grand Floral Parade for the last 5 consecutive years. It is the Centennial High School Band from Gresham, Oregon, 190 members. They are something to hear.
Extension, huh? Do you ever see a pinstripe rose? You're going to see one now, right in the center of that group of roses at the rear of this float. This is the entry of the Portland Chamber of Commerce and touting our future economic development. The float features a large bouquet of pink and white roses surrounding a blue pinstripe rose of a different color, they say, symbolizing the Chamber's tie-in of Portland's symbolic rose with the pinstripes of business.
And here is Miss Rodeo Washington, Jaylene Mers from Longview, Washington, in a cherry red outfit. What a beauty she is.
And hard on her heels, or her horse's heels, the King County Mounted Police, 14 riders in all. Here they are, full silver class, full sterling silver on all Palomino horses. Striking effect. Uniformed black pants and the light shirts. They were organized back in 1941 to promote respect for law and law enforcement and encourage youth to get involved. They're all members of, they're all local business and professional people and serving the sheriff of King County, Washington. They do about 12 parades a year, I understand.
And they pay their way to each one of them. You know, they pay their own expenses because they enjoy this so much.
They got a lot of friends up there watching on KOMO in Seattle.
My mom and dad. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Are they friends? Are they friends of the sheriff? The sheriff's posse?
Well, they're watching on KOMO.
Oh, okay. All righty. Imagine getting all that silver together in one place, huh? At the price of silver these days.
How about that for a view? Isn't that something? It's so smooth.
Here's the Beaverton High School Band from Beaverton, Oregon, just west of Portland. They've had the honor of appearing by invitation in the 1983 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. And they've appeared at Marriott's Great America in San Francisco and also in Victoria and Westminster, B.C. Big sound out of the Beaverton High School Band. Drum majors are Brenda Seaver, Jimmy Francois, and Val Anderson.
They've really won quite a number of awards.
Yeah, they were judged out most outstanding band from inside Oregon back in 1978, also 79. Big organization, 110 members.
here we have the Prime Minister of the Royal Rosarians. That was that fun group we showed you a little earlier in the parade. This is Ralph Shepard. 1912 Buick touring car is in there. He is, of course, preceding the float that has won the Royal Rosarian Trophy.
That Buick touring car is owned by John Kallstrom of Tigard, Oregon.
Lots of antique car collectors in this neck of the woods. And here comes the float now. It's entered by Fred Meyer, and it's titled Romeo and Juliet. Certainly the most romantic float in the parade.
Oh, you bet.
It's the balcony scene from The Tale of the Star-Crossed Lovers. It's a very lush garden setting. There's a fountain, and it's all done in shades. It's supposed to look kind of like it's dusk, you know, those deep purples and pink colors.
There's Juliet.
Who is Jenny Gumeri.
Romeo is Sean Doherty.
There is 50 feet of cascading floral lattice work there. Oh, and a harpist.
Yeah.
How lovely.
That's Marcia Sherman. I was going to say, do you realize all that lattice work up above is mounted on only 3 hinged points? Now that's an engineering feat if I ever saw
My,
it.
aren't those trusting riders on the float, though?
You bet.
This is a ticket to an all-time classic.
Here's Dale Roberts from Portland, Oregon, entering in the costume equestrian class, full Arabian costume, black Belgian brocade. His mount is also Arabian, a gray stallion.
And this is the Twin City Saddle Club with 3 Waters riders from Camas and Washougal, Washington. Queen Tammy Williams from Camas. All dressed in black with lavender pink blouses. All 3 horses are marked with stars and white stockings. Oh no, do I see umbrellas?
I do see umbrellas, you do indeed, yes.
We're just trying to fool you, it doesn't really rain here.
You mean to say it has rained on our parade?
No, this is what keeps the Northwest so beautiful and green. Just try to look at it that way.
What keeps it coming up roses is what it does. Here's the Barlow High School Band out of Gresham, Oregon, 80 members. These are the Bruins. They hail from East Multnomah County, where the first slopes of Mount Hood are beginning to rise. Chuck Belton is the director. Drum major Barry Finnemore and Shanice Mitchell. Band from Gresham, Oregon. Here's the Sandy's Camera Store's Fujifilm float, a lavish Art Deco setting, decorated in blacks and whites, and a lot of red roses by the thousands. This is looking ahead to the opening night of Portland's new Performing Arts Center. This is the 5th year, by the way, that Sandy's and Fujifilm have joined to enter a float. That, the blacks, by the way, that's moss that's been spray painted black, and then they've used straw flowers to create the lighter effects, the whites, and just thousands of red roses.
Very modern. This is the Fifi Temple Yakima Valley Mounted Shrine Patrol with 19 members from Yakima Valley area up in Washington State. The best thing this group does, you know, they actually raise cattle and they furnish more than honest they do. They furnished more than $100,000 worth of prime beef to the Shriners Hospital for crippled children. Absolutely free since back in 1958. What a nice thing to do. That's a lot of hamburgers, Richard.
That sure is.
All decked out.
A lot of Shriners, too, I tell you.
All decked out in their yellow uniforms there. You know, we've mentioned there's several other parades that go along with Rose Festival, and thousands of spectators line the streets of Portland for the Junior Parade. That was held on Wednesday over in the eastern part of the city. It's a little bit smaller scale, but it's certainly not small in the size of the kids there. It is the largest and the oldest children's parade in the nation back since 1936. It has delighted spectators with miniature floats, homemade costumes, even a Junior Rose Festival court. And this parade isn't only for children, it's by children. It's a good chance, though, to show off your new bicycle or your favorite pet. The audience watched children dance, prance, and show their creative ingenuity as they marched or breakdanced down the street. High-stepping bands kept up a lively pace. Ronald McDonald, hello to you. There was also drill teams and baton twirlers. Take a look at them. And the Senior Rose Festival Court was there too. They cheered the marchers on, but no one appreciated this parade more than the people it was intended for, the kids. And of course the kids' parents, who just love it too.
You know, Tracy, as a member of the Rose Festival Association Board of Directors, I've been out at that Junior Parade and helped with the marshaling of the parade. This is a live shot, by the way. These are
more kids. They like the big parades too.
Yeah, they're out for today's Grand Floral Parade. I was going to say the marshaling of that Junior Parade is really an inspiration, because all of those kids come trooping off the bus, and they've got so much enthusiasm for what's lying ahead.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
all
great.
the mothers worrying about the, you know, are the shoes all polished and all that stuff. It's wonderful.
We have plenty more to come. You're watching the Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade live from Portland, Oregon. Stay with us. Welcome back to Portland, Oregon and the Grand Floral Parade. Coming up, we have a very special float, Richard. It's actually the grand prize winner from Pacific Northwest Bell, showing Ashland, Oregon Shakespearean Festival of Midsummer Night's Dream. It is super float.
This is considered the most outstanding commercial entry in the parade.
All kinds of different seed work. The shingles are made out of dried leaves, covered with cracked wheat to give it a little bit of a different color. It is just spectacular. Of course, representing Ashland's Oregon Shakespearean Festival, which is a great place.
It's really a world famous place, and a lot of tourists come to see and watch and hear the Shakespearean plays there at Ashland.
Something special. What a wonderful float.
Theater.
That is our parade for today. We're so delighted you could join us across the country and right here in our hometown.
It's been great having you with us, and hope you've enjoyed the parade. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Live coverage of the Portland Rose Festival Grand Floral Parade has been brought to you in part by Grape Nut Cereal, with a crunchy good taste, compliments of nature. By the State of Oregon Tourism Division. Come share the things we have uncommon. And by PSA Airline, the airline with a smile, now flying Portlanders to cities throughout the West. The blimp airship Columbia was provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Flowers provided by Irv Lynn Florist. Itasca Motorhome provided by Olinger Travel Homes, Portland, Oregon. Special Rose Festival Network distribution by KATU and Broadcast Communications Incorporated.